online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey there, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans! Welcome to another edition of the AfterBuzz After Show. How are you all doing tonight? So good.
Feeling betrayed, Megan.
I'm doing great.
I'm still high off this episode.
I know. Well, you guys, you know what they say, when one door closes...
The name of the episode.
And that's exactly what we're here to talk about. Episode 15 from Season 2, One Door Closes. As a reminder, if you haven't done already, please go to iTunes, subscribe to AfterBuzz TV, go to YouTube, subscribe, rate, leave a comment. We love hearing from you guys. And we are also keeping an eye on the live chat as we are streaming live on YouTube. And we are keeping an eye on Twitter with the hashtag ABTVShield. And you could also tweet at us directly, and everybody can go ahead and throw out their Twitter handles. Jesse Klein?
Hi, you can find me at Jess Klein1. That's JESSKLEIN and the number 1.
Zach.
And I'm that Zach Wilson, THATZACHWILSON.
Joyce.
Nice, and I am... I am not nice. I am nice, but okay. My Twitter is JAJOURI.
She's nice and she's Joyce. Put them together, it's noise.
We think of you as noise.
It's the only time Joyce has ever said noise in her life. And you guys get to experience it.
Yeah, just to let you guys know how nerdy we are. While we're watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. during commercial breaks, Joyce pulls out her phone to play Star Wars. So, just to give you guys an indication of how nerdy we all are.
It's a great way to kill commercial time.
Sure.
That's all right. Jesse and I are checking our standings on Spider-Man.
What are my ratings on Spider-Man Unlimited?
Nerds! Anyway, guys, let's go ahead and let's start this episode off by talking about the day S.H.I.E.L.D. fell. Because this was a fantastic flashback, but it makes me angry because it just goes to show that this was a complete waste of killing off Lucy Lawless at the beginning of the season.
Oh my God.
Screw you, Marvel. That was not cool. I'm still upset about that, but you know what? She's going to kick ass in Ash versus the Evil Dead.
I was say,
yeah.
Silver lining, we got to see her in action tonight.
Yeah, with that heavy knife.
Not even Bobby could carry it.
Yeah, right?
She was like, that knife's heavier than I thought it was. I know, right? Lucy Lawless is fantastic. Guys, can we just agree with it? That
Totally.
America's in love with her
She
still?
was the only woman powerful enough for Ron Swanson.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
There's a lot of good in Lucy Lawless. God.
It bums me out so much that she was just wasted in this series because we get to see some of that potential here, and all I want now is for her to be a regular on this show.
Yeah.
I'm
so bummed.
I gotta shout out Alec Henning. Is this the real AfterBuzz S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Listen,
Don't ask questions you don't want the answers to, guys.
Yeah, how many people on this panel can we actually trust? You came in at the beginning of this season.
I am the hunter of this panel.
I'm still trying to decide if I trust you.
I mean, I'm not gonna say that Jesse and I have, slowly replaced other people on this panel, but if you look at the history...
Yeah. Pretty soon this panel's just going to be me and Zach.
I don't like the sound of that at all.
You guys keep too many secrets.
Well, we're spies.
Yeah, I know.
I was going to say spies.
Spies.
Noise spies.
S.H.I.E.L.D. spies together.
But back on track.
Yes.
These flashbacks
so cool.
are amazing. This is the biggest potential that S.H.I.E.L.D. has as a TV show is to tie in with the movies. I was having a debate with the Flash panel earlier tonight about like the way DC is handling this stuff and the way Marvel is, because DC, the TV universe and the cinematic universe are separate.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of rumors that they're somehow going to blend together. But Marvel, there's not rumors. It's just very like it's all tied together.
Yeah.
And this episode filled in a lot of blanks too.
Yeah.
Which was fantastic.
As we were watching it, I had like a immediate freak out because it was like I get to see, especially at the very beginning when we see Mockingbird in action, and I was like, I can't believe that I am getting to see this stuff that I spent so much time like imagining in my brain, and now I get to see it in real life. Like, it was so cool. Like, this show is so good at serving fans and letting people who are new to the universe come in and enjoy characters that fans have been enjoying for years.
So Mockingbird fans can be like, yes, and feel that gratification, but at the same time, if you've just been watching the show, you're just as entertained and thrilled.
You still know who Bobby is.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter that she's codename Mockingbird.
Yeah.
She's just a kick-ass field agent who has like crazy batons with lasers in them.
And the other thing about showing this flashback is, assuming we know the whole story with the quote-unquote real S.H.I.E.L.D., they're still not the real S.H.I.E.L.D., but assuming that we've been given the whole story with them, you can completely see their side of it.
Yeah.
Because following Fury's orders would have gotten a lot of people killed who didn't need to die, who were still loyal to S.H.I.E.L.D., and again, it was one of those things where following orders, maybe it's not such a good thing. And you even see that with the Avengers. The Avengers don't follow Fury's orders all the time. They do what they can to save as many people as possible.
Well, it's kind of a character-defining thing about Fury is he never sees the small picture and is always looking at the big picture. And so in Fury's eyes, it is okay... Well
done, Megan.
But umtish.
Dang, I just got burned. I feel like I can't even make my point.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It was a good burn. Not even a burn. Whatever.
It wasn't good. That was terrible. I apologize.
But in Fury's eye, now he's got... in Fury's eye, it's important to see, like, the long thing. So he was okay that there were going to be agents that died, because in the long run, whatever was on that ship was more important that got destroyed, because it had the potential to kill way more people than letting just a few S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, and it's a field agent's job to die. That's like part of their job description.
They're soldiers.
Yeah. So it was okay for him that there would be some soldiers that would die.
Well, and the flip side of that was that with what was going on with Winter Soldier, we were talking about worldwide mass killings.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, their plan was to literally assassinate anyone with any leadership potential across the entire globe.
Yeah.
Like a reverse Ender's Game.
Which is ironic, because what Gonzalez wants to do now is I was jumping ahead to a completely different side of the story. What Gonzalez wants to do now is essentially very similar in terms of tracking down Fury's enhanced people, which and it's not even like we want to recruit them or like see if they're still loyal to S.H.I.E.L.D. or anything like that. It was like we were going to hunt them down and make sure nothing like this ever happens again.
That's what's sort of frustrating to me about other S.H.I.E.L.D. because they're not new S.H.I.E.L.D. They're not
call
real
them
S.H.I.E.L.D.
faux S.H.I.E.L.D.
I'm just faux S.H.I.E.L.D.
Like faux show.
Well, the interesting thing is that
buckler, just like a tiny shield.
The interesting thing about them is that there's almost a sense that they have as much claim over the name S.H.I.E.L.D. as Coulson does. Like, when a king dies, let's say, and there's no leadership structure in place, it's that clamoring for, like, okay, who gets his seat now?
Everybody trying to get the Iron Throne.
Game of Thrones.
It is. This is Game of Thrones on Agents. That's a good point.
It's the Marvel version of Game of Thrones.
Because they both have a good say. There's like a reasonable argument to be had on both sides.
Both sides have a valid claim to take S.H.I.E.L.D. But again, with at least with faux shields, with their side, again, they're probably, again, we don't know for sure what they know, but they're probably still operating under the assumption that Fury's dead. And if they knew for sure that Fury was alive, would they still be like, oh, well, no, we run S.H.I.E.L.D. now? Or at this point, do you think they even care? Like, if he pops up alive, do you think they'd be like, oh, okay, well, we relinquish S.H.I.E.L.D. to you now?
Well, they went against his orders.
I think we hear where they blame Fury for the Hydra thing, and they specifically say, like, Fury's lies are what brought down S.H.I.E.L.D., and Coulson responds with Hydra is what brought down S.H.I.E.L.D. And my response is, you're spies, you should be keeping a lot of secrets. That's
how spy organizations
your job,
work.
is to just be keeping secrets. But I think they would definitely like not let Fury take control again. I think they would fight against it.
And it's very personal at this point because they're projecting everything that went wrong with the way S.H.I.E.L.D. was. They're projecting all of that onto Fury because it would be so much, again, Coulson brings up an excellent point. Hydra was the one that brought down S.H.I.E.L.D. They're not yelling, oh, it was Hydra, or we need to track down Hydra and kill Hydra, because that's what Coulson already did.
Yeah.
So they're projecting all of that onto Fury. And to an extent you can understand because they would have gone down with the ship.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, well, where were you guys when Coulson and his team were taking out Hydra? Systematically taking out every single head of Hydra.
Clearly you knew what was going on there.
It's like they were waiting for the opportune moment for Hydra to no longer be a threat whatsoever, to then jump up and go, oh yeah, BTW, we're the real
So
S.H.I.E.L.D.
our S.H.I.E.L.D. did all the dirty work, all the hard work, and they just came in and they're trying to just
and they're like,
easily.
That's nice, but you're not the real S.H.I.E.L.D.
It's like, what have you done? You've done nothing but destroy us.
There's a lot of potential. They established like a flashback with this real S.H.I.E.L.D., so we might be able to see in future episodes like flashbacks
how it slowly came together
to what's been going on, like a parallel story to what's been happening with our S.H.I.E.L.D. versus this faux S.H.I.E.L.D.
I would be okay with that because I want this to be justified in some way, and right now I'm just angry at them. I get where they're coming from, especially given what they went through on that day, but I am just so angry that they waited until Hydra was gone.
Well, I mean, it's one thing that I think is interesting is that we had in the old S.H.I.E.L.D., we had the War Council, or the Board of Shadowy Figures, as I prefer to call
The silhouettes.
And then Fury, and they were sort of like the president and Congress in a way, that they like had to make decisions together. And we've now we had the split where like they're like, it's a democracy. We'll be like the 5 people that run S.H.I.E.L.D. and Coulson's like the same way, like with a director. And like, look, the 5 people clearly was like the problem because the board was what destroyed it. It was what's his name on
Robert Redford.
Yeah,
It was Pierce.
Pierce, thank you.
Pierce.
That was the name I was looking for.
Now they've got their own little board.
Yeah. I mean, and clearly Fury didn't trust that board and had contingency plans, but it's still I think it's a lot of like Fury's way of spying versus this board's way of spying, and
you mean without secrets?
Yeah. Somehow they're going to be spies without secrets.
These are also guys that were pawns, and now they get to take a back seat if they want to, and so. I get where they're coming from. It's not right, but I get where they're coming from. The other interesting thing about this is getting to see, because there's so much backstory leading up to each of these people becoming members of faux S.H.I.E.L.D. Because one of the things I really liked that they brought up in this episode was Weaver's story.
Yeah.
One of the reasons she's standing where she is because an enhanced was unleashed upon the school. Somebody that Hydra had brainwashed to comply, most likely.
Or just a bad guy.
Or just a bad guy, yeah. Either scenario is plausible.
Could have been someone with spoons on their fingers.
Or it could
Use all the utensils.
Or it could have been like the absorbing man. Like, we don't know.
It could have been, probably like someone absorbing man, scary, and not Spoon Fingers.
Spoon Fingers is heading towards the cafeteria. Someone stop him!
All our shield jello.
He's gonna eat all the pudding.
You monster!
I just think of the Tick and his the spoon.
Spoon!
That's right.
That's his battle cry.
Yeah.
Spoons! But yeah, so I thought that was interesting because it not only kind of solidifies her spot and why she's here as opposed to with Coulson and his team, but also kind of sets the tone for her stance against people like who are Inhumans and people who are gifted. Because having somebody like that turned on you and the children that you're teaching, not children, but young people that you're teaching.
Yeah.
You know,
people that you're responsible for.
Yeah. You know what the big revelation is, though, this week? Was that all of our theories about, like, Maria like Tony Stark, all wrong.
Looks like it's just real S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Somewhere Sword is real happy. Big reveal. Like, we'll be in space.
We dodged a bullet there.
I mean, but this makes probably more sense in the end.
I mean,
Abigail Brand's just like, there's just us. There's no real Sword. There's just us.
I mean, to be fair, that hasn't been 100% ruled out yet because these guys could still need financial backers, i.e.
fair.
Stark.
Yeah,
So
sure.
that hasn't necessarily been debunked yet, but it doesn't necessarily look like that's the direction that they're going either.
I think Stark is so connected to Fury that they would never work with Stark. Like he's pretty
This
much,
is the guy who claimed he successfully privatized world peace, though.
That's true. But I don't think they would ever work with someone that they think is Fury's man.
What if Hill vouched for him, though?
I don't think they'd work with Hill.
Fair enough. That's right. This is kind of more like the anti-Fury club, isn't it?
Yeah, Hill is pretty much Fury's protege as much as Coulson is. So, like, I don't think they would ever work with Hill. She's a little bit more severe than Coulson, but they're basically like the two people that Fury were his apprentice.
Yeah, that's true. So
well-
he wouldn't want either Coulson or Hill on their team.
Yeah, well, here's a question for you guys. Do you think if Coulson hadn't been injected with alien blood and this whole thing was going on, would they have done this in a smoother, nicer, or even let him lead?
It's possible that they would have let him in on the conversation, but the fact of the matter is that at the end, if he hadn't died, because that's why he was injected with alien blood, if he hadn't died, he is still Fury's right-hand man. And if this is the No Furies Club, then I'm picturing the little tree house, the No Homers Club. But yeah, if this is the No Furies Club, they wouldn't want Hill or Coulson, regardless of alien blood.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but that's part of the story that you're like, okay, I guess I understand. That's the part of their thing that I understand where it's like, we don't know if you are you. Like where it's like you were pumped full of alien blood. We don't know if you represent S.H.I.E.L.D. anymore. Earth just got invaded by a bunch of aliens. New York was half destroyed
and
by
to
a
be
bunch
fair,
of aliens.
even Matt got possessed for a hot second there, so nobody knows the extent of aliens' ability to manipulate people.
Yeah.
I think they would have worked more together had Coulson not been injected with all that stuff. With the alien
Maybe they
blood.
try to bring him in, even if it's you're not director anymore. But
Maybe they'd try to bring him in, or maybe they would keep the option or the possibility of him remaining the director because they would still trust that he's himself and all there. And
it would have been an entirely different scenario because Coulson would have been there by Fury's side, working with Hill during Winter Soldier.
That's true.
His team wouldn't be what it is now.
That's true.
The team itself wouldn't have been assembled. It would have been a completely different scenario. Because that was the whole point of the team, was to kind of keep an eye on Coulson.
Yeah.
So, that would have completely eliminated. We wouldn't have a show. That's
basically.
Well, that's our show.
The end.
Biggest question, though, and people keep asking in the chat roll, so we need to at least discuss it.
Okay, go ahead.
Come on,
What is in the cargo hold?
Yeah. I'm gonna say clones.
Clones?
It's always clones.
The Marvel Universe does love clones.
They love clones. It could be like big weapons. It could be
Could be a stash of vibranium.
It's the Stargate.
It could be the Stargate. It could be like maybe it's a floating prison with metahumans.
It could be a bunch of That's possible. Like,
Yeah.
They're referring to it as a thing. but it's a
Whatever
bunch
it
of
was,
people.
they have it now.
Yeah, I mean, we see that later on they have that same ship, so they won the day.
Yeah, they won the day, and they have what's in the cargo
Yeah.
hold.
Yeah.
So theoretically, should these guys ever get ticked off enough, they could unleash that on whoever is standing in their way.
The last vial of Cap's blood. Oh no, he's alive now. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, if you wanted to, they could just go to the doctor's office.
Infinity Stone.
I highly
Trapped in
doubt.
Agent Carter land up here a little bit.
I highly doubt it would be an Infinity Stone. I feel like that would have gotten buried deep underground.
We've got to get, what, 3 more before 2018?
We've still got several movies to get there.
Maybe they have all of the all the remaining obelisks.
Yeah.
That's definitely
That
a
would be my
possibility.
first
Or at
thought.
least one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could just be generic super weapons.
It could be more of a Howard Stark's Bad Babies.
Yeah, but they've been building this as if it's they built it in this episode like it's something really big. Like,
Well, we can come back to this in the prediction portion of the show.
Sure.
There is one other thing I want to bring up about this flashback before we move on with our discussion. Is Mac actually himself? I think we get the reason why he's been so attached to Fitz this entire season.
Yeah.
It's because he lost a friend that day.
he likes having
he
little
lost him.
buddies.
He likes having a little buddy.
That makes him sound creepy.
No, it's sad
everyone
because
needs a buddy.
Never mind.
because he had a friend, and a friend who was willing to stand up and protect him, and this friend ended up getting killed for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely has that protective nature about him when it comes to Fitz, and it just like the guy who shot Tim said, like, you don't want anyone else's life on your hands, do you? So he would do anything to prevent that from happening again.
We also learned that S.H.I.E.L.D. hates liars. So there's that too.
You mean Hydra?
Or Hydra, sorry, Hydra hates liars. Hydra does not
Everyone
like
is a
liars.
hypocrite on this show.
I may have been lying about who I have been,
But
and
I don't like liars.
I liked the whole always with the Nazi stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
what
like
is
the
your
defining
deal?
characteristic of your organization.
It's like Ward. Like, we're not Nazis. It's. Do you remember where it started?
Yeah.
Our
Whitehall.
salute is only a double Nazi salute. We're not Nazis. We're double Nazis.
We're super Nazis. We're better than Nazis.
Nazi squared.
Our leadership is all Nazis all the time.
Yeah, it's like what kind of defense is that? Just always with the Nazi stuff. I'm just here for the paycheck. That's not much better.
Nah.
Jeez. But yeah, so is there anything else you guys want to cover about this flashback before we move on?
It was just kind of cool. I think it was cool. You were touching on it, Zach, that it really helped like explore the world building that we can do in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Where we got to see a side story to something that was happening in a movie, and it tied all in. There were things that were going on that they were talking about that happened in the movie itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I thought it was really cool that they got to kind of open up their world even more than they already have.
Yeah, and it
with these
kind of
flashbacks.
gives you some perspective too, because this is not an isolated incident. This was happening all over the world.
Yeah.
So, like, just thinking about that, because when you start thinking about the movie and it's just what's happening directly over the city, yeah, it's a worldwide threat, but you're only seeing what's going on right in front of you. This was happening all over the place.
Yeah,
And-
it's kind of nice they picked a ship that wasn't one of the 3 helicarriers that was up in the air. They weren't at S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters.
Right.
This was just a random vessel that happened to belong to S.H.I.E.L.D. where everybody was dying.
Yeah.
yeah. It was-
I'm already excited for when they do the exact same thing next year after Ultron.
I'm like, how are they they can't have... Are they going to have Ultrons in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Well, I just had this thought. What if it's the beginnings of Ultron in the cargo hold. If we do wind up going with the path where it's sort of like something that Pym started, and I know that they're denying that right now, but what if that's like a deflect,
like
thing?
A misdirect?
So
where it's it starts out as Pym's he had this pet project and it's still maps of his brain or something, and then Stark picks it up and grafts it onto his Iron Man outfit, and that's where Ultron is created.
Maybe.
Yeah.
If the original one that Pym is just that little box guy.
We get some Joe Costa action in there.
So having them commandeer that cargo ship, does it make it a little more clear who has a better chance of being in the next movie?
Go ahead.
Because I know some people were saying that it makes sense for Bobby to be in the movie, and now seeing everything she went through.
Go ahead.
So it'll depend on how the rest of the season shakes out with the
what's
two
actually
shields.
in there. And,
We still have a few more episodes, and kind of from the look of it, it looks like Coulson and his team are kind of not disbanded, but they're separated because Skye's with the Inhumans at the moment. May's been captured. Fitz and Simmons are captured. And granted, that could all turn around in the next couple episodes.
Coulson and Hunter are having a road trip together.
Male bonding. It's going to be great. But the team is currently separated, so I'm sure that they'll be able to get back together. But if they're still separated by the end of the season, then I highly doubt we'll see any of the Coulson team in Age of Ultron.
I bet Coulson will be in it.
I really want him to be.
Yeah, me too.
He needs to get back into those Avenger movies.
Yeah.
They at least need to name check him, because the name Phil Coulson has been in the news.
Yeah.
There's no way that Tony Stark, basically changed that war because Coulson died, has missed the fact that he's now alive.
I'm just picturing him choking on whiskey as he's watching the news one evening, just oh my god, what?
And he's like, oh, okay, great.
Dude, Steve, turn on the TV right now. I'm really pissed.
And then he's texting Bruce.
Yeah.
Bruce was like, who died? Because he wasn't there.
Natasha, are you hearing this right now?
He tells Bruce in his next therapy session.
Yeah, sure.
He's alive, and no one thought to call me. What the heck? Anyway, we should move on.
Speaking of Bruce, we saw his cabin.
We did.
That was a nice little Easter egg.
It was. Let's move on. Do you guys want to talk about Skye's portion since you were just talking about that cool cabin?
Yeah,
I can't wait to talk about Skye.
I know.
Awesome. All right, let's talk about Gordon and Skye because Gordon. We find out in this episode that this was the house that Banner built, as they put it, because she's taking off the panels and sees a Hulk fist in the middle of the wall.
That's what we Jesse and I were yelling oh, it's the cabin from Incredible Hulk, and they were oh, no wait, that's not doesn't add up with the lining in the wall. But who else has a fist that big?
Yeah.
But it is a Hulk cabin. It's just something that he's made sometime in the meantime.
It could be
he abandoned it the next time they got hot on his trail, and they're just looking around going, this is actually nice. We should make a retreat here.
Well, I think the idea, he built it with the specific intention of, I can go here and
unwind.
Can't get out. That fist says, that wall's broken before.
But so what we have here, though, really fun, kind of almost scary movie moment with Skye with the knocking on the door, and it turns out to be Gordon. And I just love the way she's checking the apartment and is all freaked out. Why did you make me watch those Paranormal Activity movies?
Well, we were saying that there's no way Gordon can approach that cabin without scaring her. He doesn't have eye sockets, so it's not that he's blind or that he doesn't have eyes. He doesn't have sockets for his eyes. So there's no way she's opening that door and being okay with what she sees.
I was just so surprised at how fast she opened the door after the knock came around.
Sure.
I mean, she was freaked out, so I was thinking, well, maybe she'll be a little cautious. But no, she's just what?
And the actor who
who knows that she's there?
The actor who plays Gordon was fantastic. He was super funny, and and like really belongs in the Whedon universe. Like he's kind of glib about his powers but still kind of inspirational. Like he's one of those characters where it's like he's powerful, but he's also like, you know,
he gets
tongue in cheek.
He's well-rounded.
He's not like perfectly like handsome or anything. He has flaws, and that makes him way more interesting.
And he was charming to Skye.
Very charming.
I mean, he knew how to appeal to, you know, how she's been feeling, just different and not a part of the group that she once thought she was, and he used it well. Like he did that. He was very tactful about
couch is uncomfortable.
And it was the perfect way to go about it, because we were wondering when her father got kidnapped. We were like, why didn't they just grab Skye? And it makes perfect sense now. You can't force, if you really want somebody on your side, you can't force them. You have to get them to come to you, and that's exactly what he did in this.
He was the perfect salesman.
Exactly. He sold it to her, and he's like, don't worry, you don't have to go right now. Let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, I want to know how he knew. I mean, his powers have not been shown, and maybe there is another Inhuman that can hear everything or something like that.
They've got their own little cerebro back at the base.
Which sounds terrible. That sounds like a really annoying power.
Yeah.
But I want to know how he knew that she was like, Gordon, I'm ready.
It could be that he has some form of telepathy, and that he's just specifically attuning to certain people at certain times.
Just like blind people, all the other senses that you have become super strong, and maybe after getting exposed to the Terrigen Mist, he has these new senses that are super enhanced because he can't see with his eyes or with his non-eyes.
Or he didn't teleport back to the city. He's actually just up in a tree.
He's just hanging out, being a creeper.
In the shadows and the bushes.
He does that teleport thing, and you just go to a window, and it's him with binoculars.
Wouldn't it have been funny if he was...
he's got one of the old-time ears.
What would he do with binoculars, Jesse?
That's the joke. That was the joke.
She doesn't like it.
I know.
No, I was thinking it'd be funny if he was on one of the trees that she just vibrated down. Yeah. And he's like, oh, I'm going to get her anyway.
Well, if he is the reader...
Yeah. He's got those cards,
and it seems like it fits, but because the reader's power is that anything he reads he can make real, including like powers. Like if he read the word teleport, he can teleport. But of course, it all has to be in Braille because he has no eyes, and that's like why that's a.
But that makes cool his powers limitless, which is so cool.
If he can write it in Braille, then
exactly.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting before all that happened, just how they really established Skye's isolation, and about how, you know, she was on the phone with May, and her just kind of feeling alone, and then when all of this went down on base, she didn't have any contact with anyone. Like, she was trying to call Simmons, and Simmons wouldn't answer, and she was trying to get on the internet, and that wouldn't happen. She couldn't check her Facebook. Like, she was,
darn.
Yeah, so like that really kind of helped show how isolated she was, which I think leads more to her going with Gordon, as well as being shot at.
Well, and one thing she's good at doing, she can't do. Touch. Yeah.
The one thing that was kind of interesting too is she actually put on the gloves for a little bit, and they were extremely uncomfortable for her. They were supposed to help with the healing and all that jazz, but when she takes them off and gets the call from May, that it's such, you gotta wonder what's going through her head right now, because she says they're coming for you, and she's like, who? S.H.I.E.L.D. Call cuts off, no further explanation, and then Bobby is there to go and get her.
Yeah.
So it's like, what does Skye even think at this point?
Well, in her mind, what Gordon was saying was super valid, was super validated. He was like, how did S.H.I.E.L.D. treat you when you first, learned your powers? And the way I was treated was the complete opposite. So here's S.H.I.E.L.D. out to get you. It's exactly what Gordon was telling her. So that was probably, the first thing, obviously. The second thing was, I need to get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
From her point of view, S.H.I.E.L.D. arrived and then shot a real bullet at her.
Yeah.
And
which, thanks, guys. What happened to Icers?
She doesn't know who Calderon is.
No.
Right?
Yeah,
she has no idea.
But she sees Bobby.
Well,
Bobby's with him.
Exactly.
And it's...
To Bobby's credit, she was going, no, kind of.
She warned her. She tried to warn her.
Yeah. That guy got staked, though.
Yeah.
The stakes got raised.
I mean, did any of us feel bad about that? No, he was a jerk.
I felt bad about Jesse's joke just now.
I thought it was a raw moment. Steak.
They're there.
Yeah, no, I
get
loved
it.
Gordon's speech. Like, the first thing they did was embrace me.
Yeah.
Because those are, like, that is a big difference. Like, nothing can prepare you for, even if you're like, I'm going to walk out of today with some crazy power and transformed. And then, like, you wake up with no eyes.
Yeah.
Or, like, your just breathing is shattering all of the bones in your body.
Yeah.
Like, nothing can prepare you for that. So, for the first reaction to be, go sit in that enclosed little room and try not to bring down the ship.
Yeah.
That's a bad way to start off.
As if Skye hasn't felt isolated and alone her whole life.
Yeah.
This is a whole new blow to her reality.
He also said that, like, the biggest change is on the inside as well.
Yeah.
And, like, to grow and, like, see who you are, and told Skye basically that she could become magnificent if she embraces her vibration powers.
Which I believe is true.
Yeah.
We all want that. We all
Yeah.
want her to be a superhero right now. And actually, you guys should have seen us when we saw Skye use her powers.
She's a waterbender.
It was really cool. We were all totally geeking out.
Yeah. I think I was just like, yes. Yes.
I'm just sitting there wide-eyed.
Yeah.
And we're like,
Yeah.
why don't you keep doing it?
Which is so funny because we've all seen all of the Avenger movies. Like, it shouldn't be a surprise when we see people having powers. We've seen lots of big sweeping shots of them all taking out aliens. But it was just so nice to finally see Skye unleash her powers on somebody.
Yeah. Well, the difference is that, like, in any of these movies, if it's Captain America, the Hulk, Iron Man, they've got their superpower within the first act.
Yeah.
Usually. And, like, and
This has had a lot of build-up.
This has had a lot of build-up. We didn't know who she was for a long time. We latched onto her just as a person, as a character that we liked and we respected, and we wanted good things for her. And now she's got crazy superpowers where she can blow up the earth, basically.
Yeah,
And it's
pretty
also
much.
and it's also
Explode hearts.
It's also, like, zoomed in quite a bit, where it's like it was just her and Bobby and that guy.
Agent D-Bag.
Calderon.
Agent
Tomas.
Agent D-Bag. So it was a lot more zoomed in, and it was a lot more intimate action with this. It was something that was a lot closer than, like, the Hulk pounding a giant space worm into the ground. Like,
Which was
a lot
cool,
closer.
but-
Which was super cool. But these were a different type of emotional beat than the Hulk pounding a space worm into the ground.
And again, this is both a blessing and a curse for poor Skye, because we are excited to see where this will go, but she's still afraid of hurting people. She could have very easily impaled Bobby by accident in this moment. Bobby, who is still on her side, even though she's with the real S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Faux S.H.I.E.L.D. I forgot
Bobby's
myself.
already having some misgivings.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, I think she's going to be so unhappy when they get back to base because they were firing real bullets at Skye.
Oh, she's gonna defend Skye mercilessly, and they're gonna be like, she killed one of our agents. Like, he shot her.
He shot
I don't
at
know if
her.
he's dead either.
Yeah, no, he was still alive. He was still moving. He got stabbed through the shoulder,
it
which
was a
in
little too
Marvel
high.
means that they can totally recover without any weird side effects.
Or that maybe he has vampire powers that nobody knows about. Now he's going to actually die.
It's like backwards vampire powers. You get staked and you get powers.
I know, like, he'll die and their explanation would be, oh, yeah, by the way.
Well, he didn't pop, so he's not a true blood vampire.
Are you pitching one of my other bad Spider-Man villains, Steak Man? I'll give you a splinter under your fingernail so bad.
I think technically Dracula is in the Marvel universe.
Dracula is definitely
Well, because,
technically in the Marvel universe.
Blade and all that stuff. So, I think the Dracula mythology is there. Anyway, guys,
X-Men
before
versus Dracula is fantastic.
we move on, We need a button every time we mention X-Men something or other. But before we move on, we want to talk to you guys really quickly about iTunes. Folks, thank you to everybody who's gone to iTunes to rate, leave a comment. We passed up 300 ratings last week. Is the highlight of my month. It was so cool. I think that we can do better than that, though. I believe in you guys. I think we can get up to 330 by the end of this season. I think we can.
330.
Yeah. Wow. Yes, we can. I believe it. And guys, it means the world to the people who work behind the scenes. They work over 100 hours a week to bring you over 100 hours of free content every single week. That's so much content. It's not just us. It's one-on-one interviews. It's red carpet coverage. Guys, they work so hard to bring you this stuff. So it really means the world to us when you go to iTunes to rate and leave a comment, because it lets them know that you guys like the show that we're putting on. And we love talking to you guys on YouTube, all those other formats. We really, really appreciate it. Zach, do you happen to have iTunes?
Oh, I don't have it up.
I have it. I need you guys to talk about something while I pull it up, though, if you guys don't mind.
We didn't mention. Can we talk about Fitz and Simmons real quick?
Oh, yeah.
They had a
Go right ahead.
They had a nice moment that I think is just the beginning of their friendship rekindling and them working together for the first time in forevs.
Did you notice how Gonzalez just referred to them as Fitzsimmons? Right back to
just like that.
season 1.
Which is so funny because at the beginning of this episode, they were on a first-name basis. I don't think I've ever heard anybody call Fitz Leo.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, they were calling. She was like, "Whatever, Leo," and he was like, "Yes, Gemma."
Whatever, Gemma. I thought it was funny when Gemma was basically tricking Bobby.
When she tricked Bobby,
and
that
she
was
like
fantastic.
tasered her. Yeah, that was amazing. I loved her fast-paced banter that we normally hear between her and Fitz.
Yeah.
But because her and Fitz aren't like talking anymore, she's exchanging that sort of banter with other people, and it just so happened to work in her favor when she was trying to defeat or beat up Mockingbird.
She's come a long way from like when they had to infiltrate the S.H.I.E.L.D. school.
She learned a thing or two in Hydra.
Yeah.
Probably from Bobby.
Yeah.
That's probably true.
Exactly.
But it was great where she was just like bantering with Bobby, and Bobby like couldn't care less about what she was saying. She's like, "Here, hold this.
What is this girl trying to do, stalling me?"
And she's like, "We need to get going." Yeah, okay. And hold this as well.
It was brilliant.
She was great this episode. I think she's starting to redeem herself in my eyes.
I mean, at the beginning she was kind of bad.
Yeah, but
where she was like, I'm trying to cure her, and like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Again, we talked about it a lot.
Going, Gemma.
We taled about it a lot last week. Is that she's acting very much out of fear.
Yeah, that doesn't justify anything.
No, not the racism towards Inhumans, which is what this is going to build up
what
to.
What else was out of fear? The Red Scare. That was out of fear as well. McCarthyism. The Salem witch trials. That was out of fear as well.
And ignorance.
But this is very much shaping up to be the Salem witch trials with
Pretty
the
much,
Inhumans.
Yeah.
And like Simmons comes back a little bit, like in our eyes, because of what she did here. But ultimately, she's still like gonna advocate to like stop all the Inhumans and like stop. Like it's interesting to see on this ground level this opposition to anyone who is enhanced, regardless of whether they might be good or might be bad. It's just like there's like a distrust of them.
Yeah, and Coulson says, "Do you really think Fitzsimmons is going to help you unlock the Fury's toolbox?" And like Simmons might.
She
if
might,
she finds out that what they're doing is they're trying to get a list of all of the enhanced people to destroy them.
Well, because Gemma's already been working on, her and Coulson's little side project of figuring out ways to inhibit everybody on the index.
Which makes me wonder, and this falls sort of more in prediction territory, but they're obviously going to look for Skye.
Yeah.
And when they get to where she is, they're going to see all these Inhumans, and I feel like maybe along the way they're going to task Gemma with finding out how to cure them or how to suppress their abilities and their powers.
Oh man, they don't want to be cured though.
Exactly. So maybe eventually, like, we might see her sort of redeeming herself now, but maybe by the time she gets to Skye and the whole group gets to Skye, she's going to have this whole plan that's, not meant to be in their favor.
Yeah.
And maybe that's, like, if they're, like, trying to shut down this group of Inhumans and, like, really it becomes, like, a mutant-esque, like, anti-Inhuman.
Yeah.
Then it, like, activates or, like, opens up this, like, hidden city on the moon. Adelon.
Moon City. Here I come.
See, this is the part where, like, if you start to, like, go into, like, stuff in the Marvel, like, comic universe, you start to sound insane.
Yeah, you do. Oh, you mean that city where one woman's power is her great hair?
Yeah, and then one guy, if he talks, like, he
should
destroys everything.
Yeah.
Dunzo.
And the dog who can teleport.
Oh, you're talking about that pit bull that can teleport?
Yeah. There's a lot of people who think that, like, Gordon is actually, like, some human version of Lockjaw.
Well,
which he better not be.
There was a theory. There was a theory that before Terrigenesis, Lockjaw was a human. And
well, he would have to be, right?
I don't know. I think Lockjaw's always been just a bulldog.
Oh, I thought it was because if I understand it correctly, and I haven't read a ton of the Inhuman stuff, so I might not. If I understand it right, it's only people, because it was people that were imbued with part Kree DNA, and they just transformed in all kinds of different ways. There's an Inhuman who's actually a door.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm not kidding.
That sounds like 1950s Marvel.
Could you imagine this poor person?
The Inhuman's part of the new groups.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah.
Is it new?
I think
Is it a new human?
Yeah, I think. Well, not a new human, just like a new introduction.
Could you imagine if this had been somebody who had been raised by the Inhumans, and they're like, "You're going to transform and be beautiful," turn into a door.
While we were watching, weren't we joking and saying that someone's new power is going to be that they could turn into a wall?
That's true. Oh
yeah, when the wall got blown up and Mac protected Fitz.
As a doctor diagnosing Mac as just like, well, he's more wall than he should be.
We can rebuild him.
Actually, he's a door.
Do you have any of those?
We do. We got thumbs up, heart so good from Roaring Rose. This is the best Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast ever from TCF Godfather.
Thank you.
Ever from Mama Little 7.
Mama.
G, I guess, is just for great show from Tiger York. Nicole Kane, love the podcast. I'm somewhat new to the Marvel universe, so I love that you all explain something that I would otherwise not understand. Love listening to this at work the day after S.H.I.E.L.D. Agents airs. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Agents of Talk from Chris Nanaman. I love the TV show and podcasts from Evan M120. Still love your guys' podcast from Wicked Pinto. This show is great from Stealth 8604. AOSAS that's a lot of letters. I would give this show 13 stars is what a lot of letters has to say.
13.
I would like to
13 stars.
How many colonies we had?
13 original colonies, yes. But folks, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. I'm looking to see how many ratings we have. We have 317 ratings right now. I think we can make it 330 before the season's done.
I think we can make it to 350.
350?
What?
That's so many ratings.
Prove me right, audience.
Seriously.
I know you're out there.
Yeah, prove him right. Prove me wrong. Because, that's right now I'm thinking 330. I think we should believe in Zach.
All their predictions were not right. Let's have this prediction.
Throw them a bone, guys.
Let's have this prediction right, okay?
Give them a break.
Let's predict 300.
Look, we're one of the most rated shows here at AfterBuzz, but I want to get ahead of Scandal. They have 2 seasons on us and like another 100 or 200 ratings. Help us get ahead of them.
Because superpowers, okay?
Yeah.
Not to mention, just Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans are the absolute best fans.
They really are.
You really are. I'm like looking at this chat and I'm like, I can't even read it off because you guys are just like throwing so much awesome stuff.
I love reading the YouTube. Like I check the YouTube comments all the time. They're so informative and it's cool seeing all the theories.
Yeah, you guys catch stuff or come up with stuff. Like we had no thoughts.
And a lot of times, because we're under such time constraints, a lot of times we don't get to cover everything in the episode, and we could talk for hours.
And that's why we give our Twitter handles and talk to us about the show, things that we missed, and on YouTube and everything.
Anything that we missed, comment below and discuss amongst yourself because we want to hear from you. But guys, sad to say, we are getting the sign that we are a little short on time. Let's go ahead and move straight into predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV prediction.
Yeah, we're really low in time. We got the abridged one. Yeah. So guys, Coulson and Hunter are in Tahiti. They're hanging out. Hunter has gone ahead and signed his little contract on a little napkin, which was adorable.
That was a nice gesture.
Yeah, I loved this interaction.
I don't think they actually are in Tahiti, though. I think
probably not. They're somewhere else.
Maybe
but I like to think. I like to think they're in Tahiti. But the point is that now the rest of the team has been captured, but they're on their own, and Skye is with the Inhumans right now. So it looks like Coulson is going to make a run to try to retake S.H.I.E.L.D. Whether or not that's a straight up coup d'etat or whether or not that's just going in to try to rescue his team, two completely different things. What do you guys think?
I think they're probably going to, while the directors are at the S.H.I.E.L.D. base, our S.H.I.E.L.D. base, I think they're going to try and take the boat.
The Iliad?
Yeah, the Iliad.
Interesting.
Yeah.
My big
blood red line sea.
Big question is whether or not everybody on Coulson's team is going to want to stay on the team.
Yeah.
Because Fitz, he doesn't trust everybody right now, but Weaver is on their side and Mac is on their side.
Yeah.
And like it or not, Mac did save his life, and so there's still a part of Fitz, I'm sure, that wants to believe him.
That's a good point.
And again, Gemma, she is also probably inclined to agree with a lot of what Weaver will have to say. So it's hard. We know for sure that Melinda will always be on Phil's side.
Yeah.
It would take heaven and earth moving to change her mind for that.
Sure.
But Fitz and Simmons, I don't know. I feel like they could be swayed if given the right reasons. I don't know, though.
Yeah,
I can see that happening.
Yeah, I could see Fitz and Simmons splitting up in that situation.
That too. Yeah. I definitely see an ideological break there.
Yeah,
it would break my heart.
I know.
That
I was thinking, if anything, Gemma would go with Coulson to go find Skye and everyone else.
Oh, you think?
Possibly. If she's working with Coulson to classify everybody and to, like I said earlier, cure everyone, or cure Skye at least, it would be the perfect time for her to test the waters.
All right.
Yeah, but all right. Well, guys, I think that wraps it up for this week. We're getting the wrap-up sign. Is there anything else you guys want to say really quick before we go?
I already threw my crazy Ultron prediction out. I got nothing left.
All right. Well, folks, thank you so much for tuning in to listen. We really appreciate it. Jesse Klein, where can the people find you?
At Jess Klein 1, JESSKLEIN, the number 1. All
right, guys, you can follow me on Twitter at @ZachWilson, ThatZachWilson, a bunch of other shows here at AfterBuzz.
You guys can catch me on Twitter and Instagram at JAJOURI. And Haywood, I saw that I was playing Star Wars Commander, not Angry Birds.
Thank you. And I'm Megan. You can follow me on Twitter at @TheMenguin. That's TheMenguin. I'm also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz, and I started writing articles for the Movie Chick. And guess what? AfterBuzz is going to be covering the Daredevil red carpet later on this week, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. Cool. Again, thank you to everybody who participated in the live chat, everybody who was using the hashtag on Twitter.
Yeah, Nicole McQuaid says if iTunes gets to 350, Zach needs to wear the red fedora.
Yes!
If you can get to 350 before the end of the season, I will bring the red hat.
I'll wear a red fedora if we get to 350.
I have a black fedora at home. I will wear that.
All fedoras if you get us to 350, guys.
It will be fantastic. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you guys next week. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Hot.